All right, we're back for the Western Conference. You can see our Eastern Conference teams on the board already. But like I said before, the teams are from ranked basically from last year's records. Um, some interesting jumps probably from this upcoming year that I think both of us will probably expect from some of these teams. But it'll be interesting to see who actually drops out. And of course, got to start with the Nuggets. Seems pretty easy.
I think Nuggets can be easily locked in at number one. Well, not even number one. I guess number one slash two with probably the Suns, but Nuggets, reigning champions, Nikola Jokic. They have a fully healthy Jamal Murray, which will only help them. There's not
He
much to
skipped
say
out on
about
FIBA
them.
too, right? So he's
Yeah,
recovering.
dipped out on FIBA, healthy Murray. Like what else can you say about this team? Just the best team in the NBA right now.
Yeah, and they proved it in the playoffs. Um, I think the question mark will probably be Michael Porter Jr.'s health again. He was
Hmm.
pretty healthy for the playoff run. They lost Bruce Brown, but I feel like Christian Brown can probably step up a little bit this season. He
Yep.
looked good he actually looked good in the playoffs as well. Like he
Hmm.
held his own.
I feel like I agree with you on Michael Porter Jr. I feel like he'll probably be a big X factor for them because like he's honestly a really huge part of the team, obviously, especially 3 point shooting wise. He if he stays healthy, um, Aaron Gordon stays healthy, they just have a really dangerous and deep team. Like nothing major offseason change wise. Like they should still be top contenders in the West.
Yeah. Do you think they'll? Do you think they're still the favorite, like in the whole NBA? I feel like they are.
I feel like they should be. I feel like the mainstream media probably is like looking off of them just because the Celtics and Bucks got so much stronger. It seems like
And
the
it's something
Bucks,
like new.
seemingly has like two top 15 NBA players on the team. With Dame, Giannis, and then the Celtics obviously have like four stars in their starting lineup. So like, yeah, they're definitely like really good teams, but the Nuggets obviously have um the best player in the NBA, Nikola Jokic, and then they also just have that playoff chemistry, the playoff experience that like I guess the Bucks even lost a lot of that with Drew Holiday, and we didn't talk too much about Chris Middleton and his like injury history. Like he's been having major knee problems. Giannis even is coming off knee surgery, so like health could be a big factor for the Bucks this year. So I think like Nuggets should be clear favorite number one.
Yeah. I feel like they have the most balanced starting five with Murray, KCP, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, and obviously Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and probably the best chemistry within that starting five as well, out of any team. So
Yep.
next up, who you got? I think
I
for
think
me, it's
number
probably
two.
between like Phoenix and maybe the Lakers.
The Lakers made massive offseason moves here over the summer. They obviously Austin Reeves should hopefully have like a much bigger role this season. Probably showed what he can do in the playoffs last year. Pick up Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood. Not sure who else they picked up. They really beefed up the team this season.
Yeah, they got more depth. I mean, just in general, like Torian Prince, Jackson Hayes. Like, it just seems like their team is more balanced and more. They can go like 7, 8, 8, 9 deep basically.
Hmm. I think
But
a lot of
second,
that will depend on their health this year. Also, like
yeah,
a lot of these teams we've been talking about, like LeBron James, 39 years old, oldest player in the NBA. Obviously, like when playing, still a top player in the NBA. And but if him and obviously Anthony Davis can stay healthy, that's gonna be a major key for them to actually be a top seed in the West.
yeah, LeBron should be able to get more rest this year if like Rui and Reeves can step up in his absence a little bit more. And obviously D'Angelo Russell, probably the still one of the biggest X factors on this team, given
Hmm.
that LeBron and AD like when they're healthy.
Uh
Um,
huh.
but I think we're skipping over Phoenix. I think Phoenix is the second best team in the West.
Yeah, I'd say Phoenix probably on its own tier after the Nuggets, probably. Just because They added Bradley Beal, obviously, another star, alongside Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I think that team is just obviously really dangerous offensively. Um, I know they're lacking in point guard depth right now, so they might be using, I think, Devin Booker more at the point guard this year, maybe even Bradley Beal running some point. But I mean, you can't deny that they have like two like probably top 10 NBA players plus Bradley Beal. They have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. Obviously, health question marks about Kevin Durant too. Him getting older, having Achilles injury in the past. Um, but I mean that you can't deny that team is going to be really dangerous.
Yeah, they just got so much shooting. I mean, the starters speak for themselves, and then you have Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen, even Watanabe, pretty good at corner
Yeah,
threes.
added some depth with Watanabe and uh, did they pick up Eric Gordon? Not this season. Was it?
Yeah, Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen.
Oh, Grayson Allen, yeah.
Yeah.
So they did beef up their depth a little bit. They were lacking it, I feel like, after the Beal trade, but made up for it. And obviously, a big thing is getting rid of DeAndre Ayton and sending him over to Trailblazers. Now they have Yusuf Nurkic. I feel like it's kind of addition by subtraction for the Suns. I wouldn't say Nurkic is like adding much to the team. It's more like DeAndre
Yeah, they
Ayton's
just
been
didn't they
hit or
just didn't
miss
get
for
along
them.
with him.
Yeah, I think chemistry thing with him. Also, not a great defender or player that seemed to always care about his role in the team. He wasn't the star player of the team, obviously. So I feel like that's what he was looking for, and just didn't mesh well with them. So I feel like Nurkic is a player, who knows his role, knows what he's capable of, and would probably fit in a lot better with the stars on the team.
Yeah. And they don't really have a weakness on offense, to be honest. Like, especially if they I know Koji's not really a great shooter, but you can play Eric Gordon or Grayson Allen in that spot, and your offense is pretty much unstoppable. But
Hmm.
I think the main question will be defense for this team. But it seems like
Yeah.
they have good enough players. They just need to buy in, I think.
Yeah, they're gonna have to play a lot of team defense, and a lot of honestly, it's a pretty offensive heavy team. If the offense is clicking, they'll I'm sure they're like they're pretty unstoppable. But yeah, it, I guess we'll see how that pans out. But just offensive wise, like I think they're clear like top dog in the West. And then
Yeah.
I feel like after them, there's just like another tier of probably like four teams here. I would think. Or maybe three. I don't know. I would definitely put the Lakers,
Maybe
Kings.
Kings, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Grizzlies and Warriors. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on them? Um, I would say maybe Grizzlies fall off a bit just because of. Actually, yeah. I know the Grizzlies had a really good season last year, obviously as a second seed in the West, but losing Ja for 25 games, losing who else? They
The GOAT? You're forgetting the GOAT?
the goat.
Dylan
Wait.
Brooks?
Oh, Dylan Brooks. Yeah, I mean Dylan Brooks. Honestly, you know, we know like he's like everyone clowns him, but like obviously, honestly, a really good perimeter defender. I think it's losing a huge piece of the team. I think Marcus Smart obviously adds a lot. The team he'll probably be starting point guard for quite some time as Ja misses 25 games, but they still have a really strong lineup, but I think they do lose a lot of chemistry. Obviously, there were two starters. Oh well, basically two starters out for at least most
This
of the
would honestly
season.
be a pretty good team, I think, for somebody like Zach Levine. If
Yeah,
they can trade
honestly,
like some of their young guys and like maybe I don't
I
know,
think
a
this
couple
team would
picks, I think they could
would be really
they
dangerous.
just need to upgrade that small forward spot.
Exactly. But they have budding star Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr. They have veteran Steven Adams, Satya Adama. They still obviously a really deep and good team, but I think they'll have somewhat of a fall off this year, which doesn't put them in the top tier of regular season teams.
Especially if these teams get off to like a fast start. which like a lot of people are expecting.
Yeah,
It'll
I'd
just be
say
tough to catch up in the standings that
I think
much.
the Lakers and Kings are probably a step ahead of them, just on continuation and added depth to them. Um, the Kings obviously were third seed in the West last year, and have Darren Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray. They're just really deep team.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
see out there that much worse.
yeah, they shouldn't get much worse. You got Kevin Herter, addition of Chris Duarte, pretty good guard defender. So it's not that the Kings got better per se. As the Lakers have gone better, but it's more like the Grizzlies fall off a bit. What it's gonna be
Yeah.
for them.
Next, I would probably, I don't know, I'd probably put the Warriors. You
Yeah,
think so?
yeah, I'd say probably clear Warriors. Clear Warriors. If healthy, they're all aging players. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, um, Draymond. Um, I could maybe see them relying more on Jonathan Kuminga this year, maybe giving him a bigger role to help them.
Well, they need
Um,
Wiggins for sure to be the consistent guy, like third guy, even second
yeah,
guy. Maybe sometimes if Clay is taking a rest.
Wiggins might have to take a big step up this year, yeah, with the aging players and even the addition of Chris Paul, who's also extremely old.
Yeah,
So that's gonna change up their starting lineup a bit if they start Chris Paul at the point guard. Klay Thompson at the three, Steph at the two,
I
Wiggins
don't see how that I don't
in
see
the
how that
third.
works. I think like there's a small chance. I think Chris Paul is like traded by like January or December
That'd be really interesting. Yeah.
because I
Um,
just don't see how it works like defensively or yeah, defensively
it's a
mainly.
really
Yes,
it'd be a
because
pretty small lineup that they would have to
yeah,
throw out there. Yeah. I don't know.
and is
I
if he's happy coming off the bench, I mean, yeah, it might work. And if he's happy like being sat in crunch time games, yeah, okay, that's
mhm.
fine. But is he gonna be happy? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I could see the Warriors being pretty similar to what they were last year. I mean, last year they were sixth seed, so they're kind of middle of the pack of the playoff teams. So probably pretty similar season. Uh, a lot of it's gonna depend on health. If Curry happens to miss a bunch of years or a bunch of games that year, then what can they rely on besides that? They obviously they've
That's maybe
removed
when they could use
Jordan
Chris Paul,
Poole.
but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and the removal of Jordan Poole from the conversation, just losing another like obviously really good shooter on the team. It's gonna be interesting for the Warriors.
Yeah, and I feel like Poole was one of the guys that actually used to get in the paint, maybe get some free throws.
Hmm.
Like I feel like Clay doesn't really do that much anymore, like in terms of dribbling and playmaking and stuff.
Yeah, coming off leg injuries, seems like he's definitely lost a step, and besides him also getting older, so still obviously a really dangerous shooter, but the team's just getting older, and there's a bunch of younger teams in the West, who who will definitely give him a run for their money.
Yeah. And then Draymond still has to do basically a lot defensively, switching and all that, especially if they're gonna play small.
Exactly, yeah. Like Draymond obviously uh great defender, but then obviously also getting older and older. He's not in his prime like in 2016. So just the big three. The big three are still there, but they're just a lot older. So like we're just gonna see how health pans out for them.
It's actually crazy, yeah. Like we think about it, it's like 2015 they won their first championship. It's been 8 years.
That's actually crazy. So they're well out of their prime years. So but
Yeah,
still dangerous enough to be a playoff team.
yeah. And to make a run, I mean, you never know. Steph Curry, like any game he plays in, he has the potential to be like the best player in that game or the best player in the series.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I think next up is where it gets pretty hard for me. Um,
Gets a bit murky. We have Clippers here. We got Timberwolves, Pelicans, Mavs, Thunder. Like I'd
Grizzlies, too many options.
I'd definitely put the Grizzlies. I think here
Grizzlies, yeah.
right after the Warriors. Yeah. I think like they're still the same really good team. Obviously missing John Morant for a bunch of games, losing out on Dylan Brooks, but I think that's just temporary. I think once Jaw's back, they'll pick up the pace again, where they left off. Especially with I think Marcus Smart's good pairing with him and Desmond Bain. I feel like the team is still really good. They're just gonna have I feel like a rough start to the season.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I think that
then
they're definitely gonna miss Jaw for sure.
yeah,
But Bane got that max money, so we need to see some max production.
I think this is a breakout year for Desmond Bain. Honestly, he's gonna have to carry obviously a big offensive load in the beginning of the season with Jaw out, so it's gonna be a big season for him.
Yeah. Who you want to put next? A lot of
It,
teams.
it's really murky here. Uh,
Honestly, I think the Grizzlies are probably better than all these teams, but it's just like the
yeah,
Western Conference. Like you're probably gonna be in the play-in.
yeah. I wanna say the Clippers here if healthy. You know,
Yeah,
I could see honestly if healthy, I could see Clippers like right after the Kings even. But
yeah.
that's if healthy. Like seems like Kawhi and Paul George might be healthy right now. Big might, but if they have a majority healthy season, along with Westbrook providing some value,
And you can't rest too much this year, right? It's like that policy that you can't.
they did add the rule, yeah, that you
Yeah,
can't rest stars. So yeah, so if they're playing a majority of the games, then I mean, every year people say Clippers contenders. They have two of the best players in the NBA, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. It's just a matter if they actually play, then they will be a top team. That's just how it is.
and the
Um,
1 year they were healthy, they lost in the second round to the Nuggets. So it's like, when's it gonna happen?
yeah, big question mark team. Um,
I think next I'd probably put Minnesota. I think
yeah,
I put Minnesota, right? Yeah,
I mean, we have Minnesota here, Thunder. I want to say Thunder are sleepers this year. Only had two less wins than the Timberwolves last year, and then with the addition of Chet Holmgren, obviously healthy this year, I think he could be a huge like anchor to their defense. Good shot blocker, space the floor. He's been having a really good preseason. Was having a nice battle with Wembanyama.
yeah.
In that preseason game, going back and forth, exchanging buckets. I feel like the Thunder are gonna be. I think this is a huge year for them. I could even see him possibly even pushing to be a sixth, seventh seed this year. But I think they have a
Yeah,
really nice
especially
deep
if with
team.
these two like older teams, if they're more healthy than them, they could
E-
they could definitely get more wins than them.
Exactly. If healthy, they win more games in the regular season at least than like Warriors, Clippers, and I think they're major underdog this year.
And SGA is already shown. I mean, he's basically like an all NBA player at this point.
Yeah, averages like 30 points a game. Um, Obviously they have Josh Giddey, great playmaker. Dort, great 3-and-D player. Jalen Williams, their now second year player, already has solidified himself like a big role in the team.
Yeah.
Can probably play alongside Chet Holmgren, and I don't know, they just have a really well balanced team. I want to say offensively and defensively. Um, just
Yeah, a
sleepers
lot
for
of
the
their
rest.
guys are like pretty good at offensively and like two-way basically,
Yeah,
both
SJ,
sides of the ball.
two-way player. Dort, two-way player. Chet Holmgren, two-way player. They're just they're really well balanced.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at like Chet how good he looks in the preseason, considering it's like basically his first preseason, right? Like he got injured
Yeah,
in the preseason last year or summer league
yeah.
last
He
year.
got injured in it was one of those exhibition games
Yeah,
that LeBron was playing at. Actually, he got
right.
injured when LeBron drove on him. I think the court was wet and he slipped.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
remember that. I think he like broke his foot, right? Something like
yeah.
that.
I think he broke his foot. That was in Miami. What was that? That Miami game, I think, or.
But yeah, he's impressed me. Like he's shooting threes, he's pump faking threes. Driving in, hit a little floater.
Mhm.
Obviously he's like a little too skinny still, but I
Still
think
really
he'll
skinny,
definitely still
but
improve.
yeah. Honestly, I see Chet having the dog in him. Like he, even though he's really skinny, can be pushed around. He has a mentality of being a tough defender,
Yeah.
and just even tough offensively. I think he's gonna bring a lot to that team as a rookie. I mean, he's kind of like, obviously didn't play his rookie season like Ben Simmons, and I could see him winning Rookie of the Year uh type player.
Over Wemby?
Probably not, but like I see a battle between them two. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I really like the Thunder this year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a lot to like about their team. They showed like everybody that they're a serious team last season. They made the play-in team. They made the play-in tournament.
Exactly.
And yeah. Next up we got Minnesota. I think fully
Yeah.
healthy. Towns missed what, like almost 40 games last year, right?
Yeah, yeah. I had him on my fantasy team last year. I
Yeah.
had him and Gobert. I had both of them, and I did. Yeah. Did he get injured mid-season, or did he? No, he was
He got
injured in
injured
the
like
beginning,
right in
right?
the beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they kept pushing and pushing and pushing the timeline for him, and yeah, he ended up missing more than, I think like half the season, and so I don't know. We're gonna have to see how him and Gobert, I guess, continue to function on the court. I could see a big jump from Anthony Edwards this year. Played with Team USA, and just seems like he has a mentality that he really wants to be like a killer this coming year.
Yeah. You just needed to be more consistent.
hmm
I guess the only thing they're missing is like a small forward, I guess. But like Jalen McDaniels is a pretty good defender.
Yeah, Jaden McDaniels is one of the best like perimeter defender, if not the best perimeter defender in the NBA right now. Good 3-and-D player. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns, good defender. Rudy Gobert, good defender. Um, I guess the question mark is like, if teams play small against the Timberwolves, how will they respond? Like they can't have two centers
This would
running around
actually
the
be a fun
floor.
matchup to see, the Thunder versus the Wolves, like at the beginning of the season.
That would be really interesting, because especially since the Thunder do play a bit smaller, and
Yeah.
then the Timberwolves with a bigger lineup. I feel like the Thunder have the edge in that sense, where I don't know, like if they have a fast-paced offense, it might be hard for the Timberwolves to keep up defensively with that.
Yeah, I wanna
Um,
see if the Wolves coach has the power or the I don't know if the right word is like the balls, just bench
to bench one of
Gobert.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see him making that adjustment for certain teams, in certain cases, like teams that play small, like against the Warriors, for example,
Yeah.
or yeah, the
Even like
Thunder.
the Kings.
hmm They can have a lot. I could see a lot of teams having like matchup nightmares for the Timberwolves, just because of they have two centers on the court.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, their defense has to be like top 15, top 10
yeah,
for them to be good.
but I mean they still have really good pieces. They have Naz Reid, Kyle Anderson, also. They're just a solid team that are gonna be in the play-in slash playoff hunt. Um, didn't make much changes
Yeah.
this offseason, so still
The
in the same
funniest thing would
spot.
be if the Clippers won the NBA Cup.
Clippers win the NBA Cup, but then they're not healthy for playoffs.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, could easily see that happening. Honestly, yeah,
Or I could see the Kings going hard for the NBA Cup too.
yeah, I could see that. Really young players on the team.
Yeah.
Um, just they're just really good regular season team, especially. But you know,
Speaking of health, the
uh,
most wild card team
got the
probably in the whole
in-play
NBA.
Pelicans. Yeah, Zion, Brandon Ingram. I want to say like talent
Even Trey
wise.
Murphy's already injured, right?
Yeah, I think Trey Murphy's gonna be out for, I think, meniscus. I think he has majority of the season, or at least the early season. I think he's gonna be out a few weeks. I think like talent wise, this team has the talent to compete with, like, I would even say the Warriors, Clippers, Grizzlies, Thunder. It's literally a matter of health. Can they be actually have a healthy
I mean,
full
they were like the
season?
one seed at like what, half season last year, mid season.
Yeah, terrific start to last season. They just have so much talent. CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, obviously Bi Zion. The big question mark obviously being Zion here. Like, can he play 60 plus games? For a season. Can he stay healthy during the crunch time when they're fighting for that playoff spot or when they're in playoffs? I think they're a lot more talented than the teams under them for sure, like the Mavs, Jazz, Trailblazers.
Yeah,
But I
they're
guess
not just like one or two guys. They have like a whole 7-8 man rotation. That's pretty good, but
yeah,
it just depends on those top two guys if they can stay healthy.
the only reason why I guess we would be putting them down here is just health. Barring health, they could be a top 4 team in the West.
Yeah, they should be like in this range between the Kings and the Warriors.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I guess like same team basically last year. They got Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado. Mr. Steals. Great talented team. Just need their 2 stars to stay healthy.
Even like Najee Marshall looks decent when he comes in. He's like the 12th man or something like that.
Exactly. Good, talented, deep team.
Dyson Daniels, he was like a lottery pick like what, a year ago?
hmm
But yeah. Speaking of teams that might have a dark timeline, your hometown.
The Dallas Mavericks, my hometown. I think Dallas, like,
Technically we have them what, like 11th, which is basically
yeah,
probably where they were
which
last year.
yeah, last year they were 11th. I don't think they're gonna improve, honestly. I think they maybe get worse. You know, they obviously have 2 top talents in the NBA and Luca and Kyrie Irving, but besides that, it's looking pretty grim because like in the preseason, I know they were starting 2 rookies. They were starting what's his name, Olivier Max Prosper and Derek
Derek Lively.
Lively,
Yeah.
which like obviously both like talented defenders, but like you know rookies are rookies. They're not gonna come in. They're not like these are not 2 like high impact right away NBA ready rookies.
Yeah.
Um, they obviously lost Dorian Finney-Smith last year, really good 3-and-D player. Don't have Reggie Bullock anymore. Honestly, the team with 2 really talented offensive players who aren't good defenders, and they don't have a lot of defense surrounding them at the same time. They did pick up Grant Williams, who I think is a great pickup for them.
Yeah, I
Really
was
good
gonna say you don't
3-and-D
believe
guy.
in game changer.
I believe he's gonna be a big help for the team, but I don't think he can replace what they lost.
Yeah,
Um,
he can't replace like 3 players.
yeah. It's just it's a weird team. Like I could see their starting lineup being really good. Just because Luca and Kyrie could carry it. But outside of that, I mean they have Josh Green, young
Yeah,
player who's
they
been
need
shown.
Josh Green or Hardaway to take a big step, at least
Yeah,
defensively and just hit open shots.
I could see Josh Green having a really good year for them. Improved his 3-point shot. They even have Jaden Hardy, another really good young player. Who can basically be like they're leading their bench unit pretty much. They did pick up Dante Exum, who I know was playing pretty well in Europe, but obviously hasn't shown too much as a player in the NBA, especially being a lottery pick, I believe,
Yeah.
from Australia. The biggest question with the Mavericks this offseason was their center depth, which they didn't answer outside of drafting Derek Lively. They're still stuck. They paid Dwight Powell, to stay on, leave it longer. I don't know what their infatuation with him is. He's not a good center, like maybe a backup center, but then they also have Maxi Kleber still. They did pick up Richaun Holmes, which I hope they
It could
actually
be
use
decent,
him.
yeah.
I would think they should start him. That's probably their best option for a starter. Like I don't think Derek Lively's ready for that role.
Yeah.
Um, they just yeah, I was hoping they could have maybe signed like PJ Washington over the summer to help, or just any center really, like Clint Capella. If they can maybe get Clint Capella in a trade this year, I could see that being a big help for them, defensively. But outside of that, it's just a big lack of talent, outside of Luca and Kyrie. So I just don't see them competing with the other teams in the West above them.
Yeah. They need to trade somebody for somebody like Jared Allen or someone like that.
Yeah, a young, talented center in Jared Allen would help for sure, and good shot blocker. That's what they need. That's what the Mavs have been lacking for years, basically. Like out, from the Tyson Chandler era, like besides like after that, like no good centers.
Yeah. The team strategy just doesn't really make that much sense. Like you made the conference finals with that team, with Brunson and Finney Smith and Bullock, and then you just
Yeah,
decide to let them go, basically.
they had a budding star in Jalen Brunson, who now is prospering with the Knicks, and then they had a much deeper team back then too.
Yeah.
And basically now all of it is pretty much gone.
They had Dinwiddie as well, right? Dinwiddie, Finney Smith.
Yeah, I forgot about Dinwiddie too. Yeah, they even had
Yeah.
Dinwiddie, who was involved in that Kyrie trade.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like Kyrie trade is working.
No, um,
Kind of made them make a step back because they just lost so much like wing depth.
step back and then like what's gonna happen after with like Kyrie, or will Luca want to leave eventually? Like this is like
Yeah.
a big year for them, but at the same time they don't have the pieces to show anything.
Kyrie signed a deal, right, this offseason?
Yeah, actually, yeah, he did. Um, I don't remember how much it was, 2 3
So they
years.
can't even trade him till like January
Yeah.
or February,
I
I
mean, I
think.
do know like Kyrie seems pretty happy with the Dallas Mavericks at least, in their front
I,
office.
I hope he's happy when they win 35 games.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, I mean, obviously, like he's a top player in the NBA, but well, like, they don't have much to work with beside, outside Luka and
Yeah, if they're
Kyrie.
both just isoing, it doesn't really help.
Yeah. They did pick up. I forgot. Seth Curry,
Mm,
really good shooter for them. They have good shooters. A lot. I could see the Mavs, keeping a lot of driving kick. Luca driving kick out, Kyrie driving kick out. They got knockdown shooters: Josh Green, Grant Williams, Tim Hardaway, Seth Curry. So they have that. The main thing they're lacking is they need to surround them with defenders.
yeah. Hopefully they're successful, or else they could be blowing it up.
Yeah, could definitely see that.
But next I think we got
I think next is
Houston.
yeah.
Are you feeling the Houston vibes?
I know a lot of people are expecting a jump out of Houston, especially picking up Fred VanVleet and the goat Dylan Brooks. But I mean, the Rockets won 22 games last season. Like 22. The next step after above them were the Trailblazers at 33. That's an 11 game difference between those two seeds. I see the Rockets making a jump. I don't see them making the play-in tournament at all. I don't know. I definitely
Yeah,
don't. With the talent in the West, it's not going to happen. I think that they could make a jump to like 30 wins this year, maybe an 8 game jump. But like they added inefficient Fred VanVleet. Like he is.
I
Um,
could see 10 games. I mean, Jalen Green's improving,
I can
Jabari's
see 10 games.
improving,
Jabari has been having a really good preseason shooting the ball
Shengun
efficiently.
improving.
Shengu, and they did add what was it, Amon Thompson?
Eamon Thompson looks pretty good.
Um, I really like the team. It's gonna be a fun team. They have Ime Udoka, really good coach. As long as he's not having too much fun over there. But yeah, Rockets definitely improve, but like I feel like also definitely not a play-in team at the same time.
Yeah, I mean we have them like 12th basically, so it's not like a huge surprise if they're 12th in the West.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I say sleepers. Sleepers, I could see the Spurs being better than them. You know, Victor Wembanyama, like what he showed in the preseason so far, like honestly, I thought he was gonna. I thought you would take a lot. Like I thought it would take him a while to like get used to the NBA, but he already looks pretty ridiculous. Hitting step back threes, dunking from like the free throw line without like barely jumping. The dunk on Thomas Bryant. You seen Thomas Bryant's
Yeah.
face when Victor dunked over him from like 10 feet away from the basket. Like I feel like Victor's actually going to be that type of factor just in his rookie season. They have good pieces surrounding him
I
too.
like I like Vassell a lot too.
Vassell Budding Star just got a new contract. They got the other Jones as point guard on the team. Jeremy Sohan, good defender slash guy who can play make for a big guy. Keldon Johnson, I'm not sure exactly what role he'll have for the team. Maybe come off the bench, but good scorer. Zach Collins, another good center on the team who they could probably play alongside Wembanyama if they put him at the 4.
Yeah, I think that's what they've been doing.
I see this honestly. I know the Rockets added 2 veterans, obviously. Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, but I'm just saying the Victor Wembanyama. I'm hopping on the Victor Wembanyama wagon, and just saying
You're
he
just
improves
jumping
them.
on it early, just in case, like he is basically like a really good impact rookie.
Exactly. Like I feel most rookies obviously don't have that big of a major impact. Obviously, Paolo last season had a big impact of the Magic. We improved I think the most in the NBA out of all the teams. I'm not sure. Um,
I
immediate.
think the impact Wembanyama is gonna have is more just everything basically. He just
I think
impacts
more.
everything.
Yeah,
Defensively, offensively, steals, blocks,
exactly. The overall,
rebounds,
and just I feel like I feel like teams are gonna be scared of playing against him.
or
Like
like yeah, challenging him at the rim. Yeah.
exactly. Like they're gonna be scared to drive. Like I don't know if you've seen the clip from preseason. This one guy had a clear lane to the basket and completely turned around, passed it to someone else because Wembanyama was standing in front of him. Like I think he's just gonna have that factor. Like he's
Yeah.
just freakishly tall, freakishly long arms, and able to move like fluid for his size. Is just you never seen that in the NBA. Outside of Bol Bol.
What's the percentage chance the Mavs are the worst team in Texas?
I don't. I think they'll be the best team in Texas.
You think
You
so?
know, Luca top 5 talent in the NBA.
Yeah,
Kyrie
yeah.
Irving top 10, arguably. Um,
I'm just saying there's a chance.
there's definitely a chance. Yeah, there's
There's
definitely a
like
chance.
20% chance that they're the worst team
The
in
Victor
Texas.
Wembanyama factor is real. It's definitely real. Like I I see them being better than the Rockets. I can't. I don't know. I can't imagine the Rockets making that big of a jump in 1 year.
The Rockets seem more balanced. Obviously,
They
Luca will like
probably are.
he's the best closer out of any of the players on these teams. He's the best, playmaker. He's the best, scorer.
That's
But
true.
it just seems like the team doesn't really like support him that much.
Luca.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done a terrible job like building around him. Honestly, they obviously brought a star with him now, but a star with no depth. Absolutely, like no depth on the team. No real centers except now they have like Richaun Holmes, but like he's not really a NBA starting caliber center. Um, yeah, I
Are
don't
we
know.
sleeping on the Jazz? Should the Jazz be higher?
Yeah, we are sleeping on the Jazz. Actually, I'll put Jazz above the Mavs.
You think so? Jazz won what, like 35 games?
30 sets. They won one less game than the Mavericks last season.
And they
Uh,
and they tanked like the last 10 games or 15 games. I mean, so did the
yeah.
Mavs. So
I don't. I want to. Okay, I'll say the Jazz are probably the same tier as the Mavs. It could be
th-
50-50 who's gonna be better. Um.
so you think I mean Jazz, yeah, they should be better than the Spurs and Rockets.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. They're on the Mavs. Like they're probably gonna be those teams right outside the play-in tournament. They're gonna be like. I think Thunder, Timberwolves, Pelicans can definitely easily make the play-in or playoffs. But Jazz Mavs are going to be fighting for that 10th seed. I feel like trying to make it in. But there's just no room.
Yeah.
Like there's really no room. I feel like the same top 10 from last year are the same top 10 that are going to make it this year.
Yeah,
Because
just probably in a different order.
yeah, the teams that didn't make it last year, the Mavericks, Jazz, Trailblazers, Rockets, Spurs, like those teams didn't get better. Well, they got better, but nowhere near enough to be better than the other teams ahead of them.
Yeah.
Um, I think you know like for the Mavs to make playoffs, for example, I think the Pelicans, Zion's got to be out the whole year. AD would have to be out the whole year. Kawhi, Paul George would be out for the year for them to fall
Shea
out.
probably out the whole like a
Shea,
lot of the season.
I think those teams are comfortably better than Mavs, Jazz, Trailblazers, Rockets, Spurs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess we got Trailblazers dead last. Really young and exciting team full of young talented guards, but they lack a lot of experience and
Honestly,
they're
a lot of these teams will be fun to watch if they're like playing most of the like all their guys. Like even Portland, like Portland versus like
Spurs,
Houston, that'll be a
Rockets.
fun game.
Yeah. It's gonna be a battle of like young guards. Scoot
Yeah.
Henderson, I think, can be I feel like a pretty impactful rookie. But obviously, especially rookie point guards, take a while to develop. But I think his G League experience is gonna help a
Yeah, he
lot.
definitely looks like one of the most NBA ready guys
Yeah, he's
in
already got the
preseason.
frame. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's a pretty big guard, really athletic. Um, Seems like his jumper could be coming along. I think the Trailblazers are gonna have to figure out this year what they want to do with their guard rotation. They have Anthony Simons, Shaden Sharp, and Scoot Henderson. I'm not sure if I'm missing another guard. But three really talented guards there. They're gonna have to find out the pecking order, I guess, for like
Even
who's gonna be.
Brogdon.
Yeah, they even picked up Brogdon. I'm not sure how much of a role he's. I guess a strong bench role for them, I would think.
Yeah.
Unless they want to actually start him, but that wouldn't make sense for development wise, I guess. Obviously, they
Their
have
starting lineup is actually not bad. Like for like considering like we have them as one of the worst teams. Like
yeah, it's just how
Scoot,
talented it is.
Simons, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, and
Dominating.
either Tybal or Sharp or small forward. Like that's
Yeah,
actually not bad. And Robert Williams coming off the bench.
I think Thibault could help them a lot with that. That's the funny thing. They have so much talent, and we're still putting them last just because of how much talent there are in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Um, it's gonna be a real fight at the bottom. I'd say fight for who wants to be the bottom seed. But I think a really promising future for them. It's just gonna take a few years for them to get there.
Yeah. Seems like they have a good plan.
Yeah, their future is definitely like being paved. I guess
Yeah.
probably next step is probably to get like a strong. Well, they did sign Jeremy Grant to a pretty big contract, considering he doesn't really follow the timeline of the rest of the players on the team.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure about that one.
yeah, but outside of that,
But
they
yeah,
have
outside of that, it seems like they have a solid
Anthony
plan.
Simons could be a player who could one day, lead the NBA in scoring. Like he's got that type of talent. I feel like really good at 3-point shooter on high volume. Um, Scoot Henderson, obviously, like one of the most athletic players in the NBA. Same with Shaden Sharp. They have
Yeah.
really athletic guards who are going to be, scary to guard for other teams. But obviously, all really young and lack
In a couple
experience.
seasons, yeah.
Yeah, give them a few seasons, and that's a really scary backcourt they have.
And of course dominating.
Dominating, ready to step into his star role that he wanted. I mean, I see him having a really good season this year, obviously, but
Honestly, not a bad player for fantasy, probably.
yeah, easily I feel like could provide second round value. Like he did a few years ago when he was first drafted. He was really good off the gate.
Yeah, I could see him getting like 18 and 10 and maybe a block or two.
Yeah, um, really good, stat stuffer.
We'll
But
see how much he actually like, how much they feed him the ball.
that's true with all the
Because
young
Simons
guards.
likes to shoot, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
Simons.
Grant likes to put up some shots too.
Simon's definitely gonna take the most shots on the team for sure. I can see Scoot honestly racking up a lot of assists this season as a playmaker. Promising future, but it's not their year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have any expectations. They just want to see probably some fun hoops.
Yeah. Um.
All right,
They.
I think that's gonna do it.
Yep. Um.
Thank you for joining me. Hope you guys had fun listening to these rankings. Like we said, it's gonna be really fun. Play-in race, playoff race, NBA Cup race. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, and hopefully we see you guys next time for the NBA wins / losses draft featuring Omar. But
I'm picking Magic first.
All right, see you.